Welcome, everyone. We are currently working our way through every achievement in the Silent Hill series, and after recently completing every achievement in Silent Hill 2, you should totally check out that video by the way, I thought I'd make a guide on the 10-star run and my experience with it, and do my best to help you through. And obviously I can't play the game for you, but I will guide you through as best as I can. We are going to get straight into it here. We'll start the game on hard difficulty and hard puzzle difficulty. As we're going through, obviously I'll talk about some of the things that will help you and you need to know, but right at the beginning there are a few things we need to do. Make sure you load up your results screen that has all of your endings on so far, so make sure you've been saving accordingly at the end of your results screens every time you do your runs on this game. As the last thing you want to do is load up an old save that doesn't have all your saves recorded, and you go to do your 10-star run, get it, but then you don't get the 10 stars because your playthrough thinks you've only got like 2 out of the 6 endings you need. I've seen that happen before and I feel sorry for anybody that has happened to, but we'll get straight into it here. So straight away, as soon as we load into the game, make sure you go directly here and pick up the blue gem. We then make ourselves outside, and you need to pick up the map inside the car to be able to progress here. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Try and go as quickly as you can. I would also recommend going into your settings and changing your control scheme so it's reversed and you can basically run without having to hold a button to sprint, if that makes sense. I would also recommend changing your movement settings from 2D to 3D. That makes it a lot easier. It basically gets rid of the tank controls. Now obviously picking up the blue gem at the start is one of the requirements for the 10-star run. You have to pick up all the extra items. I would suggest having a checklist like next to you or on your phone or tablet, or if you've got a laptop, just so you can glance at it, and obviously make yourself aware of what you need to do to actually reach this ranking. I have put it up, the requirements, on my previous video where I unlocked all the achievements, but I think for simplicity's sake it's best if you just refresh your memory with them and know what you're aiming. I also don't want to block off any parts of the video and I want you to see the raw footage of me doing it. I would also highly suggest, while looking at the requirements, to do what I did in my playthrough and save any achievements or trophies related to any of the 10-star requirements. Keep them locked. Do not unlock them on easier playthroughs or anything like that. Just specifically keep them locked. So the 75 kills, try your best not to do that during a run where you're not going for the 10 stars. The 75 fighting kills or the 75 melee kills is what I'm referring to specifically, because we use the achievement prompt or the trophy prompt if you're going for the platinum. We use that as our checklist, so it minimises what you need to keep track of in your head. Trying to keep track of kills on this would be a massive pain. I personally did not want to do that and have to mark off every time I got a kill. It adds a bit more, it adds more stress and pressure as well to the run. So it's just easier. As we make our way through, we have to pick up the chainsaw there. Do not forget that chainsaw. That is a special item that you do need for the 10 stars. Now here on in, we're basically just making our way to the apartments. I don't believe there's anything to pick up along the way in terms of requirements to get you your 10 stars. Just try and be as efficient as you can and follow my route. Obviously it's not the most optimal speedrunning route. I'm just a basic person trying to get these challenges done, but you have more than enough time to reach the time threshold, so you can open your map up every now and again. I wouldn't condone doing it all the time and wasting time, but there's no need to add pressure to yourself by forcing yourself not to open the map or anything like that. There's mistakes that can be had in this mode and you'll be fine. James will also trip on hard mode, so every time you run, I really don't know what actually triggers this mechanic, but if you're running, often he will just literally trip and you'll lose control over him when you go to open a door or something like that. There must be a specific way to stop that, but I have no idea how. I even tried reading up on it and could not find anything on it. It's just some sort of mechanic that's on hard difficulty. I also want to try and ease you all into this, in the sense of, I've seen a lot of research, I've seen a lot of videos on people doing this, I've seen a lot of trophy hunters, achievement hunters go for this, and there's a few people out there that highly recommend you do not go for the platinum or the completion, and I would
definitely not suggest that. I don't agree with that. I'm not saying it's easy, because it's not. It is hard, it was challenging. Probably one of the most sort of stressful and intense things I've done. But I put a lot of that on myself, and I had a lot of wiggle room. I think it's just a lot of pressure that I put on myself to get it done. But I in no way believe that this is going to take you 100 hours of practice. I literally did my ending playthroughs, and this was my first attempt at a 10-star run, and it is by no means perfect, but I got it done, and I did not have to practice and practice and practice. While you are running around the streets of Silent Hill, any items, make sure you pick them up. Do not go completely out of your way off the beaten path to pick stuff up and risk getting yourself hit or damaged. We also go in here because I know there's a couple of items in here. Now, personally, I sort of stress myself about picking items up too much on this, because I wasn't used to the layout of all the items. Most of the time I was just trying to get through as efficiently as possible, so I actually didn't know where all the item placements were. If you've got a device handy, like a laptop, tablet or a phone, you could have a map up that will tell you. You can also pause the game and then glance at that map to have a look where items are. I wouldn't recommend that though, because you will find more than enough items along the way. You definitely don't have to go out your way to find them, in my opinion. We defeat our first enemy here. I literally just attack this enemy with a heavy attack like 3 or 4 times, he dies. Pick up the radio, I believe it is, and then we run all the way back to pick up the key. And obviously if you're following along, you'll see the route I take here. It's pretty much the only route you can take, I believe. I'm not sure if you can get there another way. This is just the way I always use to get there. And going back to the difficulty and everything on this, I don't know why I'm pausing the game here. This is something I do want to mention though. If at any time you're feeling stressed, if at any time you need a break, or you need a toilet break, or a drink, or anything like that, have something to eat, you can pause the game and that will pause the timer. That won't carry the timer on or anything, you'll be absolutely fine. Just make sure it's paused like that, where pause is up. So we dodge our first enemy here, and we just keep following this route to get the key we need to get into the apartments. But again, going back to the difficulty, obviously it's stressful, but as I've said, I've seen a lot of people suggest that you just do not do this run, and I highly disagree. I think it's a good challenge. It was fun to do. I actually feel like doing this again, even though I've already got all the achievements on it. This game is so good, I'd highly not, I would seriously not recommend not playing this just because you're in fear of not being able to get the platinum or doing the 10-star run. It's more than achievable, and you'll see here that I make loads of mistakes. We have a terrible opening section to the apartments, by the way, probably the worst apartment section I've ever had on this game. Funnily enough, when I did my hard playthrough before this, just as practice, it went really well. Way better than this 10-star run attempt, but obviously that's because I haven't got the stress of knowing that I'm on my 10-star attempt at the time. I also want to point out that whenever you see a save point, you can only save twice in this game. You can save more than that if you want, but you won't get the 10 stars. You can only save twice if you want the 10 stars, and I have specific save points for you, and what I will suggest to help you, and in my opinion the best ones or the safest ones. See, we've already taken a hit there. And what I will also say is, with the saves, do not even touch them unless you are literally about to make your first save or your second save. Do not touch that red square. You'll see a red square here, that's a save point, do not touch it. Obviously pick up this map, but if you touch it and it loads the save screen and you do not save, that will still count as a save. So just stay away from them. Some of them are a bit tricky because you might go in a room, you might spam a button, you might spam the action button to pick something up, and then you accidentally hit a save point. Well, if you do that, like, yeah, you're pretty fucked. I'm sorry to say. It never happened to me, but just be very aware of that. it's better to be cautious around save points than button mashing in a room where there's a save point and you accidentally hit it. So we make our way into the apartments. This is a bit maze-like. I still use my map quite a lot, and as you can see, the trip mechanic, I keep running into walls, bumping into them. That's not really a problem. But we beeline it to the flashpoint. I run around here because I am not sure where some of the item pickups are, as I said earlier, so I'm sort of going off instinct on where items might be. We pick up the flashlight, we exit. I'm pausing again, like I'm looking at a speedrun walkthrough with steps that's quite efficient, and it was very helpful for this. So if you ever get lost, or if you ever sort of don't know where you're going, that will just tell you where you need to go. But I got hit again there, and yeah, this really is like probably the worst apartment run I've ever had. I don't think I've actually ever seen anybody have trouble at this point. It's recommended that you get through this without really being hit at all. A lot of the guides suggest that you get to Pyramid Head without actually having to heal. Now, I heal a few times in here. I do use the small bottles, but I went with it. I wasn't happy with where I was, but I just continued on anyway because I thought I could get through other sections of the game better. We pick up the handgun here, make our way out. All of this is related to story progression. You have to do those things. And also, while we're here, make sure you go into your options settings and go to the extra options menu. Turn on your bullet adjust to ×3 as well. If you haven't done that, God help you, because I don't understand how you'd have enough ammo to kill enough enemies to get the enemies killed for the 10 stars. Obviously it's doable, but I mean, thank God we didn't have to do that. Thank God we've got the bullet adjust setting, because then I would say that this would be fucking nuts. I would also suggest every time you see an enemy, try and kill it here in the apartments. Now, you can do the old reload room trick to get enemies to spawn again. I did that a fair bit around here, but I'm not going to lie to you, I would suggest, to be honest, just killing what is in front of you, and that's absolutely fine, especially to prevent yourself from taking damage. You don't really need to spend too much time exiting and trying to get your kill count up, because I will highlight a point later on in the video where if you do need the kills, you can farm them over and over and over again by failing a puzzle. I didn't do that because I didn't need to, but you don't need to stress yourself out in the apartments in a really confined space getting slapped about and taking unnecessary damage, because that is what happened to me here. I tried to get as many kills as possible without taking up too much time, and I just ended up getting unnecessarily hit. So if I was you, definitely kill what you can see, definitely kill what is in your way. Maybe reload a couple of rooms that you feel are safe to do so, but do not waste all your time on it stressing about it, because there will be plenty of enemies. There's going to be a specific farming spot later in the game where we get them, and I will point that out, and even if you do not have enough kills after that, like I say, there's a puzzle we can fail, and there'll be 4 enemies that you can just keep killing over and over and over again just to get that kill count up. Obviously it takes time, but it's still a safety thing. Now we continue on with the story. We get the butterfly key, or the clock key there, which is used to complete a puzzle. I'm just sort of running around this room trying to pick up items that we may have missed just to get over 150. Like I say, you will see me not be massively efficient. I will waste time looking around, and you can waste time. You'll see at the end result screen I had 30 minutes left, I believe, and there was a lot of piss-arsing around, to be honest, in this playthrough. There were even times where I got fucking lost. Like, I actually got lost in the apartments, and I must have spent about 3 minutes having to figure out what I was doing all of a sudden. So we complete this puzzle here. It's 9:10, I believe. Yep, that's been a while since I've gone back to this, as I'm doing the voiceover now, so I can't exactly remember all the puzzles off the top of my head, but you will see them. You can also tell here, like, that this is a prime example of it, like, the amount of times you'll see the camera just, you'll see the fixed camera go, and my movement is terrible. Like, I'll just turn around on myself. I don't even know what I'm doing here. I think I'm just looking for items, and then I'm getting confused on where I need to be, and then I nearly touch that save point there. But yeah, you'll see the fixed camera angle sort of troll me. I mean, it's not the game's fault, it's obviously completely mine. I'm not the best at manoeuvring on this. With the 3D controls, it does make it a little bit awkward, because obviously the fixed camera angles are there to cater to the 2D controls. We pick up some handgun bullets right here, reload our gun, and we go through. I'm probably going to kill something. There is a puzzle in the apartment section as well, which I would highly recommend doing, just because you get so much ammo from it, and it also contributes obviously to your pickups, and your pickups are a stat that you need for your 10 stars. Now, I would not suggest rushing through the apartments, but do try and be efficient. You don't want to take unnecessary damage, but to be honest, a spit only does like 10 points of damage to you, and you can take 500. The little enemies though, their damage does add up to the tally, so don't take too much from them. Also, while you're going for kills, if at any point you're getting kills, make sure you shoot them, and when they go down, kick them. I would highly suggest doing your melee kills, building up your melee kills as early as possible, or not as early as possible, but the kills you go for straight away, make sure they're melee kills, because we will get the shooting kills specifically later on when we're in the dark part of Silent Hill. So yeah, any time here, just shoot an enemy, he'll fall over, run up to him and kick him. See, we've been hit here. I believe we've only been hit about 3, maybe 4 times. Which is not bad at all. If at any point an enemy does that, you shoot them and they go down and they start crawling around, do not do what I do and try and kick them or shoot them. Just completely run away, just ignore them. It's a kill that we'll get over, don't worry about it. You'll also see that I'm pausing the game every now and again. I think it's just to compose myself and also make sure I know what I'm doing. Just refresh my memory, glance at the guide I'm using. It's literally just a bit of breathing space to be able to pause the game. So yeah, abuse that, because it doesn't tally up your time. Sometimes you do just need 10 seconds to compose yourself or think. I think this part here, you know, I got attacked, there was a guy crawling about the place. I was quite nervous because I'd just started. I'm bouncing off into walls, I'm trying to figure out where to go, and then I'm worrying about kills. So I'm trying to just let you know not to worry about the things that I worried about, because I worried about them way too much, more than I needed to. Now obviously it's going to be very hard to follow this while you're playing and try and do what I do. This is more just like so you can have it fresh in your memory, to sort of know where to go, learn from my mistakes, don't do the things I do that are bad. But also, you know, a lot of this run does go well. But it's just good to keep fresh in that memory. You know, watch somebody do a run, see how they get on, and learn from their mistakes, really. It's hard to watch somebody do a run while you do your own, because you just can't. You can't keep pausing a game and watch somebody do it. But I watched a lot of runs, I watched a lot of speedrunners, you know, while I wasn't playing this game, while I had some spare time, and I wasn't streaming or trying to make content here. I would just, yeah, refresh my memory on what I'm doing in Silent Hill 2 and what I'm about to do, and just soak in all the knowledge and just keep it fresh, knowing where to go and what to do. And I still get lost, and I still did get lost. You can see here, I'm pausing the game. I would cut these out, and I will cut them out, because I'm sure there's times that I will take breaks, but if it's a short pause, I'll just let it go, just so you can see that, yeah, we take breaks every now and again just to compose ourselves. I will also try and talk as much as possible. I will give you as much information on what I'm doing, or what I think I'm doing at the time. We will probably be talking for about 2.5 hours or so. So I'll try my best to keep as lively as I can. but I'm not sure how my voice is going to be by the end of this. This is where things start to go wrong for me. Like, we've taken a few unnecessary hits. I'm already in danger status. And I just want to point out that your health bar, if you go down to red, personally for me, you can tell by the controller vibrating. If your controller starts to vibrate, I would suggest healing. Because I don't think you can take many more hits once that. You might be able to take 2. But I wouldn't risk it personally. If at any point your controller's vibrating and you're on red health, just use a health drink. Or even use a first aid spray. Not a first aid spray, a first aid kit, sorry. Thinking of Resident Evil there. But yeah, you have to take less than 500, or I think you can take 500 damage, but you can't take over 500 damage. That's the worst possible way of me saying that. And that was my biggest concern for me. I had a terrible apartment. This is where, yeah, I went on red damage and I got hit a lot more. I think I had to heal about 4 more times, you'll see. And I genuinely was gonna restart my run and just think, well, it's so early on, I'll just do it again, because I was not happy with the damage I took. But provided, you do the rest of the game quite well, it's absolutely fine. There's 2 bosses where the game expects you to take a fair amount of damage, and we have fairly good strategies just to not get hit by them. So, yeah, taking little bits of damage from these enemies is not too troubling. Like I say, they only do about 10 hit points of damage. And in terms of helping you gauge how much damage you've taken, there's only so much I can do for that, unfortunately. But my rule of thumb is, if your controller's vibrating and you're in red, then you've probably taken about 80 points of damage. What I would suggest doing, if at any point that happens to you, just full heal, so you're green, and then assume you've taken 100. So basically you can go from full health to red 5 times. So all you need to do is keep track of that. And I think I went from full health to red about 3.5 times. I took 3 points of damage, which took me to the red bar, and then I think I finished the game on like orange health. So that's a good rule of thumb. Each health bar you have is 100 points of health. So anytime you get to red, I just write that off as 100, heal yourself to full, and if you get to red again, you've taken another 100, say. So you're on 200 points of damage so far. And that's probably the best way I can explain to try and keep tabs of how much damage you've taken. That is when you do want to try and track as much as you can, because it's probably one of the most important ones. Here is a good spot to farm enemies by opening the door, leaving, and then killing them, like the respawn trick. It is a bit tricky though, like for me here, I had a couple of enemies not comply very well. As you see, we got some crawlers, and it's very confined. Like, I wouldn't suggest really farming kills. I watched a few guides and they said to, keep on top of your kills, and I completely agree with them on one hand, that it's good just to relieve that stress to build a few kills up, but it isn't a necessity, because you're in the apartments where it's literally claustrophobic, you're more likely to get hit, and I would prefer to not take damage than to get an extra kill, because the kills are certainly easier to get than taking damage on a tricky section. So, I mean, it's up to you. You can try and farm the kills like I did here. I didn't do it for too long. If anything, I did it much less time than everybody else that I've seen do it. They spend a lot more time in the apartments, I believe. What happened to me is I lost time in the apartments because I didn't know where the fuck I was going through some of it, but we didn't cock up too much. And once I'd killed everything and reloaded a few rooms, then I'd be on my way. I wouldn't make a big deal out of it. And as I say, if there's crawler enemies, just fucking leave them alone, just run away. But that place there specifically, there was like 3 enemies and they respawned 2 times, 3 times maybe. So, that's 9 kills, which is good, but you are in a confined space. You're likely to get hit and you can get cornered and then you can get slapped by 2 of them at once. these places are fine, where it's just one enemy and you're in a corridor. By all means, shoot what's in front of you. And if you feel confident, go back out, respawn the enemy. But as I suggest killing this guy, you'll see a bug on the floor here. This is where I almost quit and I just wanted to start again because I'm on red health. And there's this bug on the floor. Just ignore it. If this happens to you, I would just suggest beeline into where you need to go. If you ever see a bug, just run away from it. Don't try and kill it. I tried to kick it because I thought, oh, that'll be a cheap kill. I think I did just get it there. But yeah, don't do it. Just save your health. Do not worry about the kill. Because I ended up taking way more damage than I needed to there. See, as you can see here, I am on... I think if I took another hit, I probably would have died there. But we're coming towards the end of the apartments. Here, make sure you get this item in the toilet. This will give you a code. Now this code will determine whether you are on hard riddle difficulty or extra riddle diddle or extra riddle difficulty. Now for me, unfortunately it put me on extra riddle difficulty, which to be honest doesn't matter, but it does for this puzzle because it's a little bit more complicated. Now if you've got the Roman numerals, then you will be on extra riddle difficulty. If not, you'll be on hard difficulty. So you see here, I've got numbers and letters. So yeah, for me, that put me on extra. I worked out the solution, I had a quick look at what it was, worked out the solution while staying paused, and then we go to the safe and input the code. So your code will be different to mine, and there's nothing I can do to I can't just give you an answer to help you open this safe. What I would suggest though is pausing your game and just looking up the solutions for the puzzles. Like I did, I had a tab open while I was streaming, and I'd pause the game and I'd have my puzzles ready to go. I would highly suggest doing that puzzle though. You can skip it if you want, but that puzzle is really good for telling you what riddle difficulty you're on, because you can't choose between extra and hard. The game will just default put you on hard, or it will put you on extra, and there's nothing you can do about it. So that will tell you, and even if you don't do the safe, you'll know what riddle difficulty you're on, so you know what solutions you can use in the future that are predetermined. But I would highly suggest doing that safe, just because you get a shit ton of ammo out of it, and it counts towards your pickups. So I wouldn't skip on that one. And if you're lucky and you get the hard puzzle solution, that shouldn't take you too long. I got a bit flustered there because I wasn't used to extra riddle difficulty. I think that was the second time that I got extra riddle difficulty, so I had to sort of refresh my memory with how the safe code works. Now I believe this part for me isn't the most efficient. I think I get a little bit lost here. There's a point where I'm just in a hallway and I go completely the wrong way, and I go through completely the wrong door, if my memory's good enough to remember that. But I do specifically remember this being a bit weird, and I kept pausing the game, kept looking at my map. But it's fine. Things like this may happen, and hopefully they don't happen for you. Hopefully you're just following a nice little written guide. That's what I was doing. I would highly suggest the Silent Hill website. There's a You are very much allowed to make mistakes. I know I've said it a few times already, but there is a lot of room for error here. Now you do have to be competent, you do have to know the game, you do have to be consistent with the game, but you don't have to be an absolute nut job to get this done. You can get hit, you can go the wrong way. The time you need to do this in, right here is an extra item. Make sure you pick that up. It's the white chasm, I think it's called. So where this coin puzzle is, do not forget that extra item. You absolutely need that for your 10 stars. That's one of the secret items that we need to get throughout the playthrough. Also, this is my point in the extra and hard riddle difficulties, because when you do this coin puzzle, it's predetermined what you will be doing. If you're on hard difficulty, the coins will go in a certain spot. If you're on extra difficulty, the coins will go in a different spot. So, like I say, even if you do not do that safe puzzle, which I highly recommend doing just because you'll get a lot of ammo out of it and pickups which contribute to your 10 stars, as I keep saying, you'll at least know what riddle difficulty you're on. Because if I'm honest, I don't actually know what you can do to know what riddle difficulty you're on until you're looking at a solution or a clue in the game that refers to what you need to do for that puzzle. So again, we pause here. I think we're taking a little break. I'm trying to refresh my memory with where I need to go and make sure I'm not missing any extra items. Just, yeah, keeping that fresh in my head and knowing what the next pickup is, so I don't jeopardize missing anything. We are also coming up to our first boss, which is Pyramid Head, and yeah, we're getting towards the end of the apartments, and in my opinion, the apartments is probably one of the hardest parts. There's some other areas of the game that I absolutely hate. I mean, I love and hate them. The hospital being one of them. I think more so it's just so stressful. For me, the hospital is just dark and just stressful. There's lots of noise going on. And you just feel like in danger all the time. And that's what this game is brilliant at doing with its soundtrack. With its gameplay, its noises, it's just very good at making you feel not safe. Now this is the part where I believe we have to go through this door to fight Pyramid Head, and I'm sure I get lost here. Like, I think I'm going for kills, there's a bug that puts me off and I take damage from it. So we run away here, I think I try and respawn the enemies to get some more kills. And I sort of get a bit flustered because I'm sure this bug just keeps attacking me. As you can see, we're quite high on pistol ammo, which is always good. Getting another kill here on a mannequin. Always make sure you kick them, get your melee kills. And yeah, I thought this was the Pyramid Head door. So I was like, what is going on? Where am I? And it turns out I'm just in completely the wrong area. I think I have to go opposite this corridor. Yeah, see, I go to the end of this corridor, and I'm like, what am I doing? Pyramid Head should be here. You can see here, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Like, this is the first time that happened to me, actually. I've never really been lost in this area. Once you get that key, it's very straightforward. I actually can't remember the route in my head right now, but I've never been this lost on this section of the game. But when I was on my 10-star run, I just couldn't work it out. I didn't understand what I did wrong. It doesn't help that the apartments do look the same. You do need to use your map quite often, but I think what it was is the stress of being attacked by a bug and taking damage sort of threw me off. But I realised I was on the wrong floor, so I don't even know why we went to that floor to begin with, to be honest, or why I thought that there was... I think, see, it's because there's two mannequins here and there was two mannequins in the other area, so I thought I was in the right area. But we kill these two, melee them, getting our melee kills in. And I think I try and respawn them and get another couple of kills. But yeah, this is the corridor where Pyramid Head will be. You have to open the door with a key, obviously. I think my voice is going to be shot to shit by the end of this, by the way. I will do my best to keep it going for as long as possible. I don't really know what I'm doing here, to be honest. The commentary is not going to be ideal on this part. I think I'm just farming kills. But at this point, I do remember being a bit tilted. Like, I'd taken a lot of damage. I was not happy with my apartment run at all. In my opinion, I actually thought I'd taken about 150 to 200 points of damage already, which I don't believe was true, to be honest. So you can see that even if you've had a bad way of it, because I don't think this apartment section could have gone much worse for me. I was very disappointed in myself in this part. Oh yeah, see, so I get completely lost here. I'm still wasting time thinking what is going on, and even now actually I don't know what I'm doing. I can't really remember what happens. I believe there's a door, yeah, there's a door you have to go through to get the actual key to go fight Pyramid Head, and I thought I'd already got the Pyramid Head door key, but I just don't. So you have to go in the Lynn house here, and for some reason I just, completely deteriorated in what I needed to do. This section is so simple, and this was the first time I got completely flustered with it. But again, that's why pausing is very helpful. Completely stops your time. You can compose yourself. There's a save point in this room. Try not to press A or X, whatever console you're playing on. Try not to interact with that. I just highlight that because it is difficult, with these camera angles. You'll be running one way, the camera angle will flick, then your character will run a different way. We finally use the key and we're up against Pyramid Head. So we skip the cutscenes, obviously. Pyramid Head, very simple boss fight here. Just literally unload a full clip into him, count the bullets you're using. Once you reach 10, run away from him. I counted 9, clearly. Then we get to the other corner of the room, unload on him. Do not use more than 10 bullets and have to reload, because that will fuck you. The animation's quite long. I think I'm counting 9 for safety here. He will do an overhead swing like that. If he does an overhead swing, it's a very long wind-up time, so you can't really get hit by it. If anything, I prefer him to do the overhead swing. You'll only get hit by it if you're cocky and get close to him, because it does have big range. But as long as you're running to the opposite sides of the room, you'll be fine. The one you want to watch out for is where he does like a horizontal slash at you. But yeah, just unload 9 bullets into him, run to a corner of a room 3 or 4 times, and that should be enough until the alarm goes off and he'll run away. When the alarm goes off and he starts walking away, do not follow him. If you get too close to him, he will turn around and he will try and attack you again. So I literally just, as soon as that alarm went off and he walked off, I stayed here until like you get a mini cutscene. It's not worth getting cocky, it's not worth saving yourself 10 seconds. Or however many seconds it takes. See here, you get the cutscene and then I know I'm safe to go. Pyramid Head, very simple boss fight. It's hard to say what can go wrong there, because I know people will die there and probably get mad at me for saying it's quite simple. I have died to Pyramid Head before. The overhead swing will kill you in one hit. I don't think it matters what difficulty you're on. If he hits you with that overhead swing, that's good night, Vienna. But just straight away you can unload a full clip into him. Like I say, I believe I was counting 9 shots just so I didn't accidentally hit a reload animation. Maybe play it safe and do that. Count 10 shots if you're confident. But yeah, you don't really want to have a death here and have to do that whole section again. It's not too bad though. This is the thing. You only have to be perfect, or not even perfect. You only have to have a good go of it, or a good run going, for like an hour before you get your first save. So I always felt that even if I died before the hospital section, or before the first save, I was never really too worried. So I don't understand why I stressed myself out so much, or got myself worked up, because I've done games where it's either a permadeath, or you just can't save, or it takes the same sort of thing, but it takes longer. You have to play 3 hours quite well before you can save, so yeah, you've only got to be semi-decent for an hour of gameplay, and you get your first save. And then you've only got to be semi-decent for another hour and 10 minutes, and you get your next save. So even if you die a few times, you'll be able to get enough practice in to get to your save. And to be honest, even if you did die on your first 10-star attempt run, I wouldn't worry about it, because your next attempt will probably be twice as better. You know, a part of me thinks if I did die or if I did restart, I'm sure I would have done better at the beginning. I might have done worse towards the end because it wasn't as fresh in my memory, but we are off to see Maria here. Now, I am looking for items to pick up. Obviously, make sure you pick items up. Don't just speed run through it. You will have to, like, at least be aware that you need to pick them up. But don't do what I did. I went out of my way a few times here. I thought there was another item here and there just wasn't. That wastes time. But again, we're talking seconds and I had half an hour to spare. So I really wouldn't worry too much about that. But yeah, that section was all about me thinking there was more items than there actually were on the map. Maria, not much to say about her. It's basically a run-in section to the hospital. Obviously she can't take too much damage or she'll die. But when Maria was with me, I literally just legged it. And I was fine. She never got hit, and she never died. The only time she did die was in the Pyramid Head chase, which we will get to. Yeah, there's a little enemy hiding around here, trying to cock block you. It's definitely worth killing him, because he's also got an item next to him. And he's easy to kill, he's on his own. These sections while you're running through the roads with Maria, I'd highly suggest just killing everything you see. Just tallies up your kills, nice and easy. As I say, don't ignore enemies, don't ignore kills. I'd definitely go for kills. But you want to follow what I do here because you need the dog key here. Make sure you pick that up. That is a extra item, a special item that you need for the 10-star run. Do not forget that. Just going to carry on killing enemies, killing the ones we see. See, this is probably where I get a bit more comfortable. I'm not as stressed, I'm out in the open. It's still a bit eerie, and I'm still, you know, a bit panicky, but you've got space to maneuver here. Enemies can't do much to you when you're on the roads. The only way you're going to get hit is if you get too close to them. There is also another extra item coming up. Make sure you pick it up. I pick up the steel pipe as well. Make sure you pick that up because we will be using that on Eddie. Do not forget that. You don't need it for your 10 stars, but we do need it for the Eddie boss fight. Make sure you pick up the book from the newspaper stand right here. That's imperative. That's another extra item. Do not forget that, otherwise you will fail your 10-star run. Now we're just continuing on with the story. I think I go a little bit out of my way just to find an enemy or find an item we can pick up. But I do not go out of my way too much. Like, I look on the camera and if I can't see anything, then I just carry on. Obviously, it goes without saying, skip the cutscenes, they add to your timer. Or I think they add to your timer. Actually, don't take my word on that, because they might not. They may not at all add to your timer, but I wasn't taking any chances, and neither should you really, there's no point. Now you can get an item here at the end of the bowling alley, which I did. It's the first time I've ever got this item though, but I knew it was there. It's worth picking up. Even if it wastes about 20, or it wasted 20 seconds of my time anyway, because I didn't even know where it was. Again, we pause here, just refreshing my memory on where to go, making sure I've got the right turns in my head, I don't take a wrong turn. Again, if you need to, get your map up, it's okay. Yes, it wastes time, and it's probably not ideal constantly coming in and out of a screen, because there could be an enemy near you, but like I say, the time limit is not an issue. I think the only time opening and closing your map may be an issue is if you're literally doing it over and over and over again constantly. But you should roughly know where you're going and what you're doing. And as you saw in the apartments, I didn't have a fucking clue what was going on. Somehow I just completely capitulated. And yeah, I wasted time. Like, I actually wasted time, and we still did absolutely fine, and we still had loads of time left. So here, like, I'm not running in straight lines, because I'm running to where I need to go, but I'm also shifting the camera to make sure there's no items I'm not missing. This section's quite nice because it's sort of the build-up to getting you to the hospital, but this also sort of de-stresses you because you've just had an intense part. So you can get your composure here, which is quite nice. I'd probably suggest, I don't know, I wouldn't really suggest having a break because you might come back and fuck something up. I think just go with the flow of how you're feeling. If you feel like you need 5 minutes, then take 5 minutes. If you feel like you're in the zone, fucking go for it. It can be a little tense in the hospital because I think the hospital can be quite dangerous. And you're also coming up to your first save in the hospital. So in the back of your mind, you're thinking, you know, I'm 5, 10, 15 minutes away from my save, depending on where you are in the hospital. But here we go. We're now about to walk in there. Yeah, pick up the map as well. I don't think I've really pointed this out, but every time you go to an area, if you see me picking up a map, I'd highly recommend it. The last thing I'd want actually is for you to not pick up a map and then you get lost, because God help you. Like the amount of times I looked at my map on this game. See, even here, I'm lost, and I've played this game. Yeah, like this is my 6th playthrough, and I'm still like, fuck me, where am I going? This is a room where there's a save point. Be very careful, because it's an easy one to hit that. Because there's items in here that I was picking up. We have to pick up this key item here to move on with the story, obviously. There's also puzzle solutions. So there's certain puzzles you can do on this where you don't actually need to do anything in the hospital for. I believe there's one puzzle like that, which is just always the same code. But yeah, obviously just keep this fresh in your memory. You're going to be seeing what I do, so try and follow that. So we're probably about just over a third, I'd say a third of the way through the game, to be honest. But you're in a good way here, because once you get the bulk of this done, you've got your first save. And we haven't really had to do much. I mean, how long has this been going on for? 47 minutes? You know, the hour mark, I'd say, is probably where your first save is. And, you know, I've been pausing a few times here and there. Picking up another item there. Kill the nurses. Do not get close to the nurses. They're actually very easy to not get hit by. Provided you just shoot them from range. The only time they're ever dangerous is if there's more than one of them. And unfortunately there is usually 2 of them in a corridor. Here is a specific scenario where I get clapped here. And I sort of half panic. I just go for the kill just to get rid of one of them because I didn't want 2 of them. I took the hit to get a kill, basically. We dispatched them. As you can see, I need to heal here. Oh, I also want to mention, I believe you can use the chainsaw, but I didn't use it. I would suggest not using it, if I'm honest, because I really wasn't sure if it voids your 10-star run. I've read conflicting information online, like some people say it's fine, you can use it. I've seen YouTube videos where people use the chainsaw and they get 10 stars, so I'm sure it's safe. And if you really want to use it, go for it. But just don't blame me if you don't get 10 stars. I'm sure you will, because it just doesn't matter. But I didn't want to risk using a chainsaw and then finding out using that item voids your run. And yeah, I did research it, but as I say, I sort of found conflicting information. Like, a lot of people said it's absolutely fine, and then other people were adamant that it ruined your run. So I really don't know. I just, for safety's sake, I didn't bother using it. Now, this hospital section, we do farm kills every now and again. We don't do it too much because it's very dangerous, in my opinion, in the hospital. You're just asking to get hit. Make sure you inspect this because it gives you a code that you need. I don't think it's always the same code. I can't really remember, to be honest, but I know for a fact you definitely have to examine that. You do need to use that. You can't get away with not finding that code. Obviously we've got the shotgun here. I would recommend using that whenever possible as well. I mean, see, I get hit here. That was an unnecessary hit. I mean, what am I doing? Don't do what I do. Just don't get close. It's unnecessary. What I should have done there was use the handgun and shot them from range. And actually, I don't know why I'm suggesting using the shotgun. When you first get the shotgun, don't use it, because you want to use that for flesh lips. It's okay when you get ammo later on, because every time you pick up ammo, because we got the bullet adjust, you'll get more shells than you need. I mean, to be fair, look, I've got 16 shotgun shells, so if you find yourself high on shotgun shells, go for it, use it. But because we've got so much handgun ammo, just use that if you're in a corridor and you can shoot the nurses. Don't do what I did and get in their face, it's pointless. That's literally the only way the nurses can do damage to you, by the way, is if you get too close. I think my reasoning for getting close to them and getting in their face is because I didn't want Maria to take damage. I think I was concerned that, because I have no idea how much damage Maria can take before she dies, but what I do know is if she dies, it's a game over. So I think I was very much a shield all the time for Maria. See, I've got hit there. Like, I've cocked up the camera angle there. I guess I don't have the best hospital. I didn't think it was too bad, but this is an area that sucks. I just left. I didn't even get the kill. I just thought, fuck this, get out, because it was just too finicky. The camera angle kept changing. Also, because it's a thin corridor, my advice would be just get on with the story and dump Maria. Like, get Maria in a little safe room. Because look, we've just been capped again there, coming out of a pause screen, coming out of a door. I do get the kill, but it's not worth taking the hit. This corridor here is very dangerous, because there's always two nurses in here. I think I was trying to farm kills, you know, but why I was trying to farm kills against these two, I don't know, because it's a silly spot to do it. Yeah, there's three nurses here. If I was you, I'd just take out what you can and just run, or even so, if you want to skip them, skip them. But I was a little bit concerned for kills. I didn't want to get towards the end of the game and have to do the respawn enemy trick and waste loads of time. But 9 times out of 10, I think I would be taking damage because I wanted to be a shield between me and Maria, because one, I was scared of her getting hit, and also, whatever you do, make sure you create a gap between you and Maria when you're shooting. Make sure she's not in front of you. I would always make sure I was in front of her, even if it meant me getting hit by an enemy. Because if you shoot her, I'm pretty sure that just kills her. I can't say for certain because it never actually happened to me, but I remember seeing videos on it of people shooting Maria and raging because she'd just die. Yeah, so she cannot take damage. Not by your guns anyway. If it doesn't kill her, then it must really injure her. But I'm sure, like, literally one shot will just drop her, and then that's game over, you're fucked. So the best thing to probably do is rush through this hospital without getting hit, and just dropping her off, because then at least you're free. You haven't got to worry about her. And then if you do want to respawn these rooms, go for it. I wouldn't suggest wasting too much time on it. This is quite an easy corridor to farm kills on, because I think when you come out the door, they're always in front of you. You know, you're not pincered. As I say that, we nearly got hit by a swinging nurse out of the door. And see, there's two here. This is where it can be a bit dangerous, because I'm trying to go for melee kills, but because there's two enemies next to each other, I can't get close to get the kick. So I think a few times I will just get gun kills. Like, I done well there. I believe that one was a melee kill, and then we'll get another melee kill here, but there's often times where two of those nurses will be side by side, and they'll be closing you in, and you'll drop one, and the other one will still be coming at you, so you can't run up to them and melee them, you'll just have to kill them with a gun. But a kill's a kill. And obviously we'll be using the achievement tracker, so it doesn't really matter. I would suggest going for melee kills first, just because once you've done those, we can just work straight on our gun ones, and it's easier to do the gun kills in the specific section that we farm them, because we'll have more ammo. So yeah, we're just going through this section. This is where we get hit by Pyramid Head and we have to full heal. This is the section that people suggest getting to with only being on like danger health. So people say if you can get to that Pyramid Head spot and you've only been on red health once, then that's ideal. I didn't. And what I would suggest doing there is full heal, because when you get to that Pyramid Head section, the damage he does to you doesn't count, by the way, so that doesn't add to your damage tally, so don't worry about that. But what he will do is put you onto the lowest possible health you can get, I believe. So if you full heal, you know that if you go down to red again, you've taken 100 points of damage, if you get what I'm saying there. And also, if you're already on red health, he'll put you onto like the lowest possible amount health, and you can just completely full heal. And yeah, it doesn't count though, so don't worry. You can be on green health there. He puts you to red. You haven't lost 100 damage. It's fine. He doesn't count towards the damage statistic in that cutscene. Now we're getting a little bit closer towards our save. Again, I am just going for the kills on the nurses, it may seem. I don't know why I'm going for a gun kill here. She was on the floor, so I should have kicked her, but I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. I probably wasn't thinking, that's the trouble. I think I was rushing because I knew there's like 3 nurses in this corridor. But yeah, if you don't feel comfortable, if you do not feel comfortable like loading in and loading out, unfortunately this section of the game is going to make you feel a bit uncomfortable, because you're just, again, like the apartments, in areas where the corridors are so narrow, you feel claustrophobic, so it's difficult to not get hit. And seriously, if you get hit a few times, just don't feel hard done by. You will get hit. Obviously there's people that do no damage runs, of course, but yeah, you'll be fine. I sort of felt a little bit comfortable doing some of these corridors, but then other times I just didn't. Like sometimes it went well for me, and then other times I would just get myself hit. We are now onto the puzzle. Now you can go into your memoirs and you can look at the document you picked up, so the carbon paper and then the cell, where it's written in blood and you've got a number. The blood with the number one I always find difficult to read. I think one of the numbers they purposely make difficult to read. But you can just make a note of what you see when you pick it up. So the carbon paper, you can just, I don't know, make a note in your phone or something. But just in case you'd forgotten the number, you can just press you can just go into your inventory and go into your memos. So we use the codes, and then we use the items that we picked up to use the box. Now we're going to continue on with the story here. I believe we have to use the fishing hook and the wire, or the hair, sorry, the hair strand that we get, and we'll go fish out a key. It may be worth equipping your shotgun actually, because you're in these tight corridors. Yeah, the game's got a nasty habit of spawning enemies outside the door. Here, it's fine. If you can see them, then sure, switch to your pistol. Yeah, we make our way into the shower room, combine the items, get the key, and yeah, we're very close now. I believe, you know what, I actually think we might save a bit sooner than where most people save. I thought it was where we were supposed to save, and it turns out I think people tend to get the rings for the door before Pyramid Head, and then they save, whereas I saved before we got the rings. Which was a mistake on my part. But it's fine, because that's literally 2 minutes of gameplay, if that. See, I open the map quite a lot. I'm in my inventory here as well, constantly changing weapons. You know, this takes time. You don't really want to access your inventory unless you have to. You don't want to keep switching weapons like I do. But, as I say, time isn't a problem. Like, you can get away with that. So we're now up against Flesh Lips. My advice, always move for this boss fight. Always move. Never stand and shoot if they're under you. Don't get greedy is definitely my advice here, because I've already taken a lot of damage. See, in my mind I've taken about 200 points of damage, so I'm thinking I've got a no damage pretty much every boss I go up against now, just for safety, or just to make myself feel like I've done enough. What I would suggest doing is, yeah, like me, as you can see, just run around and try not to, that was close, I was quite under them for a while there, but pop a shot, run, pop a shot, run. So shoot, find space, is like the best advice I can give for this fight. They're very easy. I don't think I've ever been hurt by Flesh Lips, you know. In all my playthroughs, I don't think I've ever taken damage from them. So I don't actually know what happens. I believe they grab you with their legs. But, you know, this fight feels... I remember when I did this fight, it felt like it took a long time. And I even ran out of shotgun ammo, actually. I have to start using my pistol. And I remember getting a little bit frustrated, because I'm sure in my mind I was thinking they should be dead. But no, they do take a lot of damage. But again, just shoot, run, shoot, run, shoot, run. Never get greedy and try and fire 2 shots or 3 shots. It's just not worth it. You also have to... I fire 2... As I say that, I fire 2 shots, of course, but... I think it's because there was only one of them there. There was only like one Flesh Lip roaming about. See, we run out of shotgun here. We run out of shotgun ammo, should I say. And we equip our gun, our pistol. And at this point, we've only got 59 bullets in our pistol. So I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I wasted too much ammo and just didn't get kills or what. Because I feel like we should have more. But there's no need to worry, because we will get a shit ton of ammo soon, because we're going to do the little trick or treat box, which make sure you do. I highly advise doing it, not only for the ammo, well, I mean definitely for the ammo, but because it counts as pickups towards your 150 items. So, you know, it's a win-win. And yeah, see, this fight, I mean, what's this, a 3-4 minute fight at least? And I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, this is taking too long, like, I can't be dealing with this, like, this ain't good. But again, time limit, like, I just forget about it. I was worried, because I'm thinking, you know, I sort of want the best possible stats for my run too. I didn't just want to finish with like 2 minutes left, I wanted to get a good time. But genuinely, you don't need to worry about your time, because that's the most generous bit. I think I've said that about 5 times already, so do forgive me there. But we've got ourselves past Flesh Lips. I think I paused the game here because I want to take a nice break, because I know I'm about 5 minutes away from my save, maybe 10 minutes if that. So I'm just trying to compose myself. That boss, you know, took a lot out of me as well, because I think it took me longer than I thought it should have. And I'm just reading on like where I need to go, because this area is a bit maze-like. That Silent Hill's very good at pushing you in the right direction, like it's linear. It won't let you go to places that you shouldn't go to. It will only let you go to the places that will let you progress the game. But the problem is everything sort of looks the same. The layout of the map it's not that it's bad, it's just it's trying to remember the navigation to get where you need to go. There's a few things I would like to mention about this, and one of the things I do want to talk about is the dreaded boat section. Now, I've seen so much online about this, about how it's borderline impossible and you need an absolute perfect run. I will get onto that later, but I'll just quickly touch on it now, because not a lot's happening here. Obviously, just follow the route. We're just getting the story done. But so many people say you need a perfect run and you can't make mistakes and you need to line up to the light and just speed fuck your controller until it breaks to get the time. I mean, I don't really know where that's coming from. I don't know if I was playing a different version of the game or what. I find it hard to tell you, because I don't want to say those people are lying, because I don't believe they are. You know, maybe there's something there where it is difficult, but I've read a lot online. I've read so much where people say the boat section is the hardest part, and I don't want to put conflicting information out there and turn around and tell you it's easy, because, you know, it's not easy, but it's in no way a game breaker. Like, I will show you my runs, I will show you my failed attempts. I'll probably speed it up a bit, because, you know, I want you to be able to watch this and play it yourself and sort of take in what I do and get through it. But I'll show you my failed attempts, and I failed twice, and on my third go I got it. Now, on hard difficulty, the boat controls are different. So you know, it wasn't like I was practicing and I didn't. I had 3 attempts, and on my third attempt I got it. And the third attempt, and I'll point this out again when we get there, like, I completely cocked it up. Well, I didn't completely cock it up, but I had to move my boat to line up with the light again and then continue forward. So you can cock up and still be able to get there in time, and I think I still had 3 seconds left. So, and by the way, during my run when I did that, I didn't actually think I got the time. I thought, oh nah, fuck it, I'm gonna have to do these boss fights again. But no, I was so surprised when I got it, and if you've watched my previous video where I got all the achievements, the actual full video, you'll see my shock that I managed to do it, and I was so surprised that there's been so much online about how much of a nightmare it is. And I say maybe it's different versions of the game, it's not, because all the people that have done this, I think it's the HD collection they've been doing it on, so yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I'll delve deeper into it, and I'll give you, like, my best way that I did it, and you can follow that, and hopefully you get the same results. But, you know, I've seen people not be able to do it because their controller isn't the right controller that they're using, or, you know, there's some peripheral problem. So I can't really comment on that. But what I do know is I was completely surprised by how easy it was, considering what I've read online, is what I'm trying to say. So we're here again, and I don't know why I keep doing this to myself, but I keep going for these kills in probably one of the worst areas to do it. I think it's because I'm getting excited because there's 3 nurses here.
Not doing it.
So every time I go out and go in, there's always 3, so that's 3 kills I can rack up, but it's very dangerous. If you feel comfortable doing it, go ahead and do it. I think that time I was like, oh, I'm not wasting the ammo and I'm not wasting time, I want to get to my save. I didn't want to take, this is a part where I didn't want to take too much damage because I knew I was so close to my save. So we just continue on, we are so close here. I think we rescue Maria and then we get our first save. Again, picking up items there, pick up some shotgun shells. Again, I'm going to keep drilling it into you, I don't want to repeat myself, but yeah, pick up everything you see. Do not forget to pick up this ring here. It's just required for the story, but the amount of times I've forgotten to re-enter the room, pick up the copper ring, and then I've gone to open the chest with Maria and continue the story, and I've only got one of the rings. It's happened to me about 3 times, and I've had to backtrack and get the ring. But now this is the part where we save. If you see here, I interacted with the save screen and it said, what is this? And then, like, it just completely cut me out of it. So I had to interact with the save screen again. And then it actually loaded up the save. I was very worried that just touching it and the fact that he had a bit of dialogue there cocked things up, but it didn't. I think as long as you get to that, as long as it doesn't enter that actual save screen state, you're fine. So I was still very worried. I genuinely thought by the time I get to the end of the game it might have counted as 3 saves, but it didn't. And yeah, for now we take a break here. I think I get my first save and then I'm like, right, that's too much stress for one night, and I end my stream. So I'm going to cut the footage down and we'll get to the second part where we finish the rest of the run. So if you've made it this far, congratulations. You've got your first save, you got half the work done. You should feel pretty good about yourself. It's not an easy ride. I'm sure you would have had some little hiccups like me along the way. But I hope, if you've been following, and if this has helped you, I hope it's helped you. And yeah, I hope that it hasn't been as difficult as maybe you thought it might have been. And yeah, you should feel proud of yourself for getting this far. You've just got one more stretch before you get another save. And I'm telling you now, once you get that second save, you've pretty much got it in the bag. I know that you could get to the end and maybe you haven't got your 10 stars because you took too much damage or something went wrong.
Out the way, Maria!
Items. I highly doubt that will happen, but odds are you can at least revert back to your second save to right those wrongs, or maybe even your first save. And the point is that once you've got this first save, you know, that's behind you. You can always revert back to your first save even if you keep fucking up, and you'll be able to correct whatever you got wrong at the end of your playthrough. But we move on, and I do hope that whatever advice I've given, it has somewhat helped. I hope the gameplay has helped and it hasn't been too all over the place. It is quite hard to follow because obviously I don't know fucking everywhere I'm going and what I'm doing. I'm learning this as I'm going along, like this is my first run. So obviously don't use this as a to B, this is 100% going to get you your 10-star run. It's more of my experience, learn from my wrongdoings. But following this, you will get your 10 stars, because I did. So you can't really go wrong. But obviously if you're following this step by step, you're going to see me pause the game, or you're going to see me go the wrong way, and then I don't really want to cut all that out because I want it to be completely raw for you so you can see the experience of problems and mistakes and how it's not manufactured to just be a great 10-star run. But after getting our first save, as I said, we just continue on with the story here. And I get hit, of course.
Fuck you, bitch.
It's a common theme. It's a common theme. Again, though, it's good to see, and I'm actually glad because I can go over this, watch it, and see all the mistakes I made. And yeah, it does refresh my memory that a lot can go wrong, and it's still okay. What I suggest doing is definitely follow the walkthrough, or you know, the guide this far. You want to use the chest here. It's always the same one, so it's 313, and you get loads of ammo. I would 100% get this. Do not skip this. It's just not. You get so much from it. You get pickups and you get so much ammo. That ammo will then set you straight for your kills. If you don't get that ammo, then honestly I think you might struggle to get your kills. You know, unless you're following like one of the proper pro speedrunners out there, you know, there's gonna be guides on the 10-star run that are much better than this, because these guys do it for fun. So I'm sure they can get away with just getting pickups or not using bullet adjust, but for the sake of getting this done and a completion, then I would highly suggest picking up all that ammo. You're just going to make life harder on yourself, and if you can do it, then I'd do it.
Ride or die.
It would be different if you couldn't use bullet adjust. If you could only get through the game and not use those settings, and I mean, that's part of the game anyway, so I'd advise using it. Okay, so this bit, I think we fail a few times here, and I'll cut the footage, but this is the first go, and we get chased by Pyramid Head. Now what I do is, and what I advise you to do, is just leg it, and hopefully Maria will make it. Sometimes she won't, sometimes she will. It's RNG.
There you go.
It's advisable to shoot Pyramid Head to slow him down. That's what you're meant to do. That's the mechanic. But because you've got a save so close, then I would just advise legging it. I think what I do is actually shoot him at one point just to slow him down a little bit, but I'm going to cut the footage just to our successful part. So this is our attempt that's successful, and yeah, I cock this up. I try and do the little trick where you slow him down. You're meant to sort of block Maria a certain way, but honestly, I wouldn't even advise doing this. I know this is my successful attempt, so it's not really the best way to show you, but we shoot him at the beginning, which kind of is meant to slow him down, but then we just end up legging it anyway, and for some reason this time Maria doesn't get killed. So because you've got to save so close to that Pyramid Head fight, or chase sequence even, I would just advise running through it and just praying and hoping that eventually you'll get through without Maria getting killed, because it will happen. You might get away with Maria not dying at all, or you might have to run that section 4 times over before you get a successful attempt. But it's not worth worrying about, because again, yeah, you've got that save, you can load it up, and you're literally right there near Pyramid Head. Now this is also an important section of the game that we're coming up to, and I will speed the footage up because otherwise you are going to be watching about an hour. I think it's about 45 minutes to be fair, but 45 minutes of me just killing enemies. This is the spot where you are going to get all your kills. You're going to get all your shooting kills, and depending on how your kills have been going throughout the run, you might also get your melee kills. You might have got more melee kills than me at the beginning of the game and been more successful, or you might have not got as many melee kills as me and you've taken a bit of my advice from the beginning of the video to farm the kills at the end of the game, which is more than okay, and I will bring that up, don't worry. When we get to that point I'll tell you where you can get your infinite respawning enemies. But yeah, we get to Silent Hill in the dark, and as you can see there's enemies here. I'll show you some and then I'll speed up the rest of it, just so you've got the gist of what you need to do. So what we do is we pop the enemies until they go down, whip out the shotgun and shoot them once while they're on the floor. Sometimes that'll be enough to kill them, sometimes they'll get back up and you need to shoot them back down again, and sometimes you need to shoot them like 4 times with the shotgun before they die. It wildly varies. I don't know if there's critical hits on this game or what. Sometimes I will just get close to them and pop them with a shotgun to kill them. What I will say is when you're shooting them on the ground, make sure you do it quickly and never shoot them while they're in an animation of getting up on the ground, because it does no damage and you're likely to get hit. What will happen is you'll shoot, they'll have iframes, and James will be pumping his gun or reloading or whatever he's fucking doing, and they will just walk up to you and hit you. It does actually happen to me a couple of times where I get complacent and I end up not shooting them quick enough on the ground and they start getting up. So my advice, shoot them with the handgun till they fall over, shoot them on the ground with the shotgun, so switch to your shotgun. If they die, they die. If they get up, which will happen, it's quite likely, let them get up and finish their animation for getting up, then shoot them again. You won't get hit, just be patient, and just, yeah, please do not shoot them like while they're mid-animation getting up, because you're gonna get hit probably 70% of the time. It happened to me a few times. What I did is looked at my map, and what you want to do is head to where you need to go, like head in the direction you need to go, you know, get the wrench, head to the place where you need to use the wrench on the statue to get a key, and then from getting the key head towards the prison area where you use the key. But what you want to do is literally go up every single road on the way to doing your objectives. And yeah, you'll see, look, we've got 3 enemies here, we've already killed 2 enemies, and this will take like 45 minutes to an hour. I'd say you could do it in a good 45. Especially considering, depending on how much kills you are, you might have more kills than me at this point, or you might have less. But equally so, I wouldn't waste longer than an hour. If you haven't got your 2 achievements or trophies after an hour of doing this, just carry on and we'll get the rest of the kills in the section where you can just respawn enemies with a puzzle, okay? Because I wouldn't, you know, I had half an hour to spare, and I genuinely think the time is not an issue at all. But you will save time getting the kills near the end, right near the end of the game, because you can spawn them quicker than having to run around here and spawn in enemies. What I will say is, if you are opting to get your kills near the end of the game with that method I'm going to bring up later, it's probably a little bit more dangerous and you're more likely to get hit. especially if you're going for melee kills, because you've got 4 enemies that spawn, but they are sort of in a corridor, so you're gonna have to like get them in a train and try and pop them with timing to be able to melee kill them. But yeah, just literally go down every road and avenue while heading to the objectives that you need to go to, okay? And what you can do, and I did do a few times, is go up and down some of the roads you've already been on, and I would advise doing that. Do not go out your way, like spending 2 minutes running down a road you've already been to not find an enemy. Just spend like 30 seconds, 20 seconds running another way that you've already been and see if an enemy respawns. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And it's not worth literally going around this map twice just getting enemies to respawn, because in my opinion they'll either respawn or they won't. And while we're doing this, I highly recommend just picking up every item you find. What I would also recommend is, specifically for this section, get yourself a map of the items up on your phone or whatever, or, you know, even print some off. I don't even think people fucking print stuff off anymore, do they? I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, you guys are gonna have a phone or a tablet or something. I'd seriously suggest just looking at a map of the items. That I found a good one on a site where that would have the whole map laid out with numbers, and I just go to the numbers on the map, because there's at least 30, at least. I'm probably doing that a disservice. There's probably more like 50 items to pick up, but yeah, there's at least 30 pickable items on these maps that we go to. I'm not going to speed up the footage just yet, because there is an item that we will need to pick up in the next area. But as you can see, look, I mean, there's shotgun shells, there's rifle shells, there's shotgun shells again. That's 3 pickups in one. And again, yeah, I mean, how many enemies have we killed so far? We must have killed a good 10, I reckon. And we haven't even got to the next area yet. But as you can see, I am progressing. Like, I'm just progressing forward, but I'm only killing what's in my way. And I'm going up and down every sort of road that's available to me as we are progressing forward. There's no need to run all the way back to the hotel at this point to get more enemies to spawn, to then run all the way back to progress. I just don't see the point. I think if anything, that's wasting more time. And again, 2 more items here. I think we must have picked up at least 8, maybe 10 items on the ground just in this one spot alone. So yeah, this is where you're going to rack up a lot of your your stats to get your 10 gold stars, which is very, very handy. And you'll see that this is why we keep the achievements or trophies locked, because this takes away so much stress. I would not want to have to tick this off and make a list of how many enemies I've killed, because you'd have to constantly stop and start. But I'm going to sort of fast forward the footage here until we get to a point that you will need to pay attention to, because we need to pick up a special item that will be the hyper spray. Obviously, don't be afraid to get your map out here as well, so you can keep your bearings of knowing where you're going and what you're doing. Although you should know what you're doing, I don't know why I said that. But yeah, you just want to make sure that you're not going around in circles and stuff like that, and you're just going progressively up and down every road you need to go to while heading towards your objective, obviously. I wouldn't advise getting your map out like literally every 2 seconds, of course. Like, you don't want to use unnecessary time, but don't be afraid to do it. It's better to use your map and know where you're going and learn that instead of not doing it. So we're now getting to the point of where you'll want to pay attention here. We get to the caravan, we've got to the next area of the map, head into this caravan, and on the side will be a hyper spray. Pick that up. You 100% need this for your 10-star run. Be very careful of that save icon there. Do not interact with that. The hyper spray is far enough away to not interact with it, but the camera angle goes a bit funny. I'm sure you'll be fine. I just thought I'd mention it, because the last thing I want for you to do is fuck about getting kills and then you go and end up accidentally saving your game. It wouldn't matter because your save is fairly close, but you probably would have spent about 20 minutes killing at this point. And also, in case you accidentally pop the achievement and then you fuck that up and you reload your last save, you'd then still have your achievement, so you'd then have to start tracking your kills, which would be an absolute fucking nightmare as well. But I'm also going to speed this section up right now, and I'll probably stop it when we get our achievement for unlocking the kills with the guns. So I've had to put this at like 1000% fast forward speed, because any less, even at 500%, there's going to be like 4 minutes of footage of me running about killing stuff. So it goes to show you how long you spend killing enemies on this, in the section where you need to get 75 handgun kills or melee kills, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's crazy to me, really. So sorry if this almost gives you an aneurysm looking at it, but otherwise we would just be sitting here for 50 minutes and I'd have to try and think of 1,000,001 things. Actually, maybe I could talk about 101 facts of Silent Hill 2 maybe, but that would be a video in its own right. Yeah, I mean, all I can say is we're just killing, checking our map, going up and down every avenue, like I said, but there's, again, no need to massively backtrack. Also, this is quite stressful. Like, this is 45 minutes to an hour of just walking about, shooting stuff, which is why you'll see later I save where I save, because not only will you have your achievements, or your trophies, that you would have unlocked by this point, if you like get to a point where the boss is and you don't save, and you save after, but it turns out you die, then you're all the way back to your first save, and that's 45 minutes of monotonous killing. But also, because you've popped the achievement, you then have no way to then retrack it, if that makes sense. So you cannot rely on an achievement or trophy pop to tell you you've got your 75 handgun kills, weapon kills, sorry, or your melee kills. So there was a part of me that saved when I did, because I then thought of that. I thought, oh crap, you know, if I die, I've got no way of tracking my kills, and I'm going to have to sort of freeball it. So yeah, I mean, I made the right choice in the end, but I'm only going to tell you what I would advise you to do based on my experience. You don't have to do what I do. If you feel comfortable, you'll probably feel more comfortable than I did in certain areas of this game, and you'll probably feel less comfortable than I did in certain areas of the game, and that's fine. But you be the judge of that, because you'll be playing the game. If you feel like you can do certain areas of the game better your way, or you feel more comfortable with them, then absolutely do that by all means. I think we must be getting towards the kill here that unlocks the achievement. I mean, I even have to pause it every now and again. I remember this being... This is one of the most stressful bits for me, because it was just silent, tense music, not really music, just noise. And yeah, you've just got to go around killing stuff and picking up stuff. As I say, remember to pick stuff up. I can't believe this is on 1000 speed and it still takes this long to get where we need to get to. But, you know, I'd enjoy this part, to be honest, as stressful as it was, because you've got the prison section coming up, which, in my opinion, it's an easy area, and there's not really much threat in the prison section, or, like, the depths section, but, there's just parts of this game that just make me feel nervous and tense all the time. I mean, a lot of the game does that to me, actually, but, yeah, I mean, the prison section, oh my god. Just, I could not settle in that area. But we're almost there now. We're getting there. I think the 75th kill is coming up. And I'm at the point now where I'm like, oh my god, am I even going to be able to get enough kills? I was worrying about that. But it's absolutely fine. I knew that we had a backup plan if we couldn't. But here it comes. This should be the kill that gets us the achievement. There we go. Keep your distance. So as you can see, we can forget about shooting enemies now. all we got to focus on is meleeing enemies, and that's another thing. That's another less thing. One less thing. Can't even talk. One less thing to think about. So you can just crack on, and every kill you get from here on in can just be a melee kill. And there are enemies. There's enough enemies to get you through to the end of the game, in my opinion. There's probably a good 30 before the end of the game at least now, if you really wanted to. But again, I will bring up that section where we can just farm kills. I will fast forward again to the next area.
We can basically crack on now with the story and just beeline it to the end while being efficient. It's good to have that achievement out of the way, because now we only have to focus on melee kills, so that's always nice. Less to track and less stress as well. I'm just clearing up a few enemies here while I can, getting the melee kills, and we're gonna then just progress. This bit you do want to pay special attention to for when I enter the building, because there will be an item that we need to pick up. And as you can see, I'm right where we need to go, but I just run up and down this road a couple of times, just clearing up any enemies, seeing if there's any respawns and if there's any pickups I have missed. Because those kills do tally up, and they do help. So you don't have to, the less farming you need to do, the better. And I thought I was quite close to getting the melee kills anyway, so I thought I'd try and get that out of the way. But we're now entering the building after stumbling into it. I still don't understand that mechanic, honestly. And we need to pay attention here. Be very careful with the save there. It looked like I almost clicked on that, But right here is one of the extra items you need, the Obsidian Goblin. Obsidian Goblet even, Goblin. You can barely see that item, so just be aware that it's there. And yeah, you 100% need that, so do not forget that. And we are now making our way into the prison. This is a horrible section of the game. It's actually, as with most of these things in Silent Hill 2, I actually love everywhere you go. I genuinely do. I really like the atmosphere of it all. It's just the prison for me is one of those areas that it makes me nervous and tense all the time. But we go down it's the equivalent of the Metal Gear Solid 3 ladder, I like to say. These set of stairs. I don't really know the reasoning behind this, but yeah, these take quite a while to go down. Obviously no problems, and the prison section, by the way, isn't too difficult at all. You barely see any enemies, to be honest. I think we might have to kill like 2 or 3. And again, this is a section that if you want to kill everybody you can kill, if you haven't got your achievement for either of the kills yet, then be sure to sort of kill everything you come across, provided you aren't going to take damage, or you're quite safe not to take damage, if that makes sense. So never put yourself in danger trying to get a kill is my suggestion, because I always feel that taking less damage is more important than getting 1 kill. We had a bit of trouble picking up that first aid spray there, or first aid box. This is another enemy that's very easy to kill, and we get our melee kill here. And I believe I personally unlock the achievement for the melee kills in this area of the game. And again, you've got the radio, so you know if there's an enemy close by. The fixed camera angles can be a bit finicky sometimes, especially with the movement on this game. So you'll find that, yeah, sometimes you can literally just turn around a corner and there'll be an enemy in your face and you might just get hit. And I haven't brought it up yet, but there's also moments where every time you go into a door, the game is technically playing and you can get hit before you're out of the black screen. It's like the game loads before you can see yourself moving around. You can bypass this trick. I just could not be bothered half the time. But if you pause the game while you're in that black screen, unpause it, pause it again, then unpause it, you shouldn't take damage and you should see after exiting the door. For that section there, you sort of have to turn, I think it's 33 degrees or something to your left, and then you should always hit the wall. Half the time though, I'd always get it wrong and you just have to adjust. But don't worry, you're not going to waste too much time doing that. Just be careful actually, because if you're sort of spinning around and not paying attention, you're not going to remember where the hell you are in correlation to the wall you actually need. But I mean, Christ, even if you spent 5 minutes there, you'd be fine, and I'm sure it won't take you 5 minutes to get out of that section. This is a bit of a dangerous spot. I did well here not to get hit. I don't believe I got hit there, but yeah, this is a bit of a tricky area just to get the melee kills, because as always when there's enemies close together it's quite dangerous going for the kicks. But you do have an iframe mid kick animation, so that can be used to your advantage, but honestly it's hard to time and it's hard to set up so that you don't get hit. It's just up to you really what you want to do in terms of, I mean, you're playing the game and I'm sure you know how to kill enemies. There's times where you're just going to get a bit unlucky and get hit, or it's a risk-reward factor where you know there's 3 enemies just cock-blocking you. But, you know, you've got no problem taking it slow. If you need to back up, back up. Don't ever rush enemies. The closer you are to them, that's the only real danger, is if you get in their face, to be honest. This section here is a complete RNG puzzle. I cannot help you with this, but I can give you advice. The best way I can help you with it is, well, there's no set code is what I mean, but you put the battery in and you will have 3 lights lit up here. Sometimes you will have 2, and there's basically a combination of button presses. As you see there, you can do 1 2 4, 1 4 2, 1 1 2 4, or 1 1 2, sorry. Not 1 1 2 4, don't do that. Anyway, we got it on our 3rd button press, but sometimes depending on your riddle difficulty, I believe, it might not be your riddle difficulty actually, but sometimes that will only light up 2 numbers. So if it lights up 1 and 2, that means you can do like 1 1 2, 1 2 1, 1 1 1, 2 2 2, I believe. Yeah, it's just a variation of those codes and it's completely luck based. Sometimes you will get that on your first try, and there was a time actually when I was on easy and it took me like 8 attempts before I got it, and I got absolutely annihilated by the bugs. That one is a bit of a tricky situation that I can't really get you out of, unfortunately. You just have to get lucky with what code you guess. It's literally RNG on if you guess the right code, and you just have to keep trying, so it's just trial and error. What I will say is if you get the code wrong, just constantly spam the A button on Xbox, or X button. I think it's X, I haven't played PlayStation in ages, but yeah, the action button. And you should not really get hit by the bugs because you're button mashing quick enough to get straight back into the screen to input the code. But we make our way through the prison still. Another enemy here we take out. I believe this might be the one that we get our melee achievement on, you know, or it may be one of these 2. As I've just seen, there's 2 enemies here. See, what I'm doing here is backing up a bit, getting some distance, reloading my gun. If I accidentally kill one of these with a weapon kill, it doesn't bother me, and I'll get a melee kill on the last guy that's standing, because at least I'm getting a melee kill. And I'm not taking damage, if that makes sense. Also, this guy just scurried off. I completely forgot about this. Yeah, so I take some damage here. I'm on red. I need to heal, really. I don't know why I haven't used a small bottle here. I probably should use a small one. I do. Well, that's good of me. Yeah, this is where it's a bit, you know, you have to be instinctive here. You either have to do that, just take a guy out and kill him. But any time an enemy scurries on the floor, I just do my best to get out the way of him, because he's just going to cause you more problems than he's worth, or you're probably going to get hit by something else in the process. But I mean, we took a hit there and it's absolutely fine. Don't stress too much about it. I'm sure, I thought it was this enemy we got the achievement on, but obviously not. It must be coming up. I know we're very close. I'm sure I got this achievement in the prison. But yeah, as I say, you know, it's better to lose an enemy kill than it is to get fisted by an enemy multiple times, because that's the trouble as well. When you've got one scurrying around, then you've got one in front of your face and you have a little mini panic attack, then you're just going to get spat on with acid by one of the enemies, and then the other guy crawling about's going to slap you as well. So it's very easy to suddenly take 3 or 4 hits as opposed to just getting out of there. You can even reset the room. So if you do want the kills, just go in a room, reset it, come back. And there you go, we just got our last kill for the melees. So we've got 75 melee kills, 75 firearm kills, so we're all good in that department. What I did do is I got like 3 or 4 more shooting kills and about the same melee kills, just to make sure that that tracker was definitely on 75. I'm sure it's fine, and the achievement is definitely a tracker that's reliable, but just for my own peace of mind, I got a few more kills. And to be honest, if you get to the part I'm at and you've got your achievement or trophy for them, you're probably going to have to kill a few enemies just that are in your way anyway. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's fine though. If you go on the trophy or the achievement prompt, I'm certain you'll have enough kills. That wouldn't lie to you. But this is where I relax a bit because, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you, I am sort of shitting my pants here. But I know in my head, right, we've got our kills, all I need to do now is focus on getting to the end of the game and not taking damage. The only thing I was thinking about here was not taking damage and just having in my memory that I do need to pick up a couple more items. And yeah, I'm sorry that through some of this footage, obviously you're going to see me pause, unpause, pause, unpause. If there's a very long pause section, I have cut it out and I've shortened it. A lot of the mini pauses though I've just left in just because I wanted this to be very raw footage, so you know exactly what you're getting yourself into and it's not just jumping. If you're following along and I'm not just jumping on and off and you don't understand where I've suddenly gone. But the pausing is a very good feature, I mentioned it earlier. If you literally need 2 minutes, if you need a piss, if you just want to eat something, get some energy up, make yourself a coffee just to get your heart pumping even more than it already is, then that's a really good trick to do. If you couldn't pause this and you had to do it all in one run and everything counted as the timer, then that would be very stressful, more stressful than it already is. But all of you trying this, you know, you might not be as stressed as me, you might not care that much, you might just blitz through it, walk in the park. But this is more just a process of helping you and showing you my experience, and also, yeah, not like worrying about how difficult it is, because I feel like a lot of people are scared off trying this. They read too many things about it and they're like, oh fuck that, not doing it, it's too much. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like I read about it and I thought, fuck, this is daunting. I had a lot of people, I even had a friend tell me, you know, just don't do it, it's fucking hard, it will be one of the hardest things you've done, and it wasn't. And I think anybody that's done this, there's probably something they've done and it's harder than this. I think it's actually quite generous. It could have been harder. If they didn't give you your bullet adjust, if they didn't let you pause the game, if you had to use tank controls even. We just got cucked there, unfortunately. But again, that's what, 10 points of damage, so obviously it all adds up. I don't condone getting hit, don't get me wrong, but it's going to happen, and I'm just trying to make you aware that it's okay. It's okay to get hit, just don't get hit too much. My personal opinion is if you can do your bosses with no damage, then you should be okay to take a few extra hits from normal enemies. But yeah, back to the part about it being difficult. I don't want to downplay it, you know, I don't want to turn around and make out like I walked through this and it was a piece of piss, because it is challenging, don't get me wrong, definitely challenging, and you may fail, you may feel a bit beaten by it, or it might just be a bit too stressful for you, I don't know, but it's not one that you're going to have to dedicate your fucking life to, and I've mentioned that earlier. Every one of you playing this game is more than capable of this. You might not be capable of it on your first run of the game because you're not going to know what the fuck is going on.
like, don't get me wrong, but if you've played enough of this game to get 90% of the achievements or the trophies, and you've got all your endings, and you know, you sort of know your way around without having to worry too much and use a map, and even I didn't really know my way around 100%, I was still using little guides and used my map a lot in this run. Yeah, I don't think you'll have too much of a problem, to be honest. And like I say, you only have to play well for an hour and you got your first save. And then you've only got to play well for another hour and 15 minutes and you got your second. This room here is a bit dodgy. That enemy will spawn, and even if you kill him, I went into that other room to pick up the rifle. Make sure you pick that up. I don't even think you'll use it or need it, actually. I genuinely don't think you'll need it, but just, you can pick it up, and it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it, as people always say. Also, it counts as a pickup. But yeah, go in that room, because there's like an ampule, which heals you to full health. There's a rifle that counts as your pickup, so I think there's rifle ammo for it as well. So, and also if you are on a sticky wicket, you know, up against, later on in the game, you just find, what they called, like, abstract daddies knocking about the hotel. If for some reason you get cock-blocked by them, you know, rifles are pretty handy. But at range, at least, I'd still recommend using the shotgun. We're moving on now through the prison, and yeah, this is the Metal Gear Solid Freestyle elevator as well, believe it or not. So yeah, there's two sections of this game that remind me of Metal Gear Solid and its ladder sequence, and yeah, the stairs at the beginning of the prison and the elevator leading you to, I don't know what this area is called, I've completely forgotten. It's either the depths or the dungeon. But this bit sucks. I'm not going to lie to you, this is the one section where you might see a lot of pausing actually here. This might be one of the segments where I'm going to be pausing every fucking 5 seconds, which isn't going to be very good for you guys viewing, but I'd highly suggest, like, as I said, there's a website and it's called Silent Hill Memories, I believe, and it's got a speedrun quick guide, a written one, of Silent Hill 2, and I had this minimised on my stream, and it's like bullet points of turn left, go straight, and it was really handy throughout this run. That's why you'll see me pause, because I would just glance at it and then know where I need to go, and that also cuts down on map time. So I'd highly suggest putting that, reading through that while you're playing. If you can glance at it or pause it, it's not too much trouble for you. And I'll probably link that in the description, especially if people want me to, because that was so handy on my run. And it also reminds you, even on the speedrun guide, where the special items are. So it will say go left, go right, and then it will also say special item here if you want it for X ending. So yeah, following that, you also can't miss your special items or anything. I just had an aneurysm. But this place is difficult. I can't even direct you here because, I mean, I'm currently going through all the Silent Hill games, so my memory of going through this one is a bit hazy, because obviously I'm catching up on all the editing now, while editing the other stuff I've been doing. So I definitely suggest that guide, just to know, because this maze section, there's specific routes you need to take, otherwise you are just going to get fucking lost, because whatever route you take will lead you to another section of the maze, and the map layout is just very odd and very specific. What I will suggest is play this safe. Do not rush this section, even if it feels like you're taking a little bit too long. This, for me, I was really hesitant on this part because, one, I really didn't know the layout. See, you'll see me pausing here because I'm looking, making sure I need to go right, making sure I need to go left, or just reading where it's telling me to go. This is really handy, having that there, especially in this section. Yeah, because you're literally about 5 minutes away. Once you get out of this section of the game, you've got your next save, by the way. So for me, I was very hesitant, and I thought I'd rather lose time than get fucked loads and ruin my chances of getting 500 damage. So just take it easy there. If enemies are close to you, just fucking back off, go back up the ladder, reset the room. I'm not 100% sure how much it resets it, but it definitely helps. This puzzle is a ball ache. It's completely RNG dependent. There's a specific like face you need to, and face and direction the face needs to be facing. As you can see, I've tried 3 times, no dice. I tilt it the other way, no, nothing. This is, yeah, I think I have a bit of a shitty one with this. On hard riddle difficulty and extra riddle difficulty, there's basically 6 different solutions. So it will be like pink face left, pink face right, yellow face up, yellow face down, and then, I don't know, blue face down, blue face right. There'll be a predetermined like face that you need to put it specifically on to open that room up properly. And what I would do is just go through all the combinations that the guide has written down on that difficulty. So easy, normal, hard, and extra riddle difficulties, they'll have like different predetermined faces, if that makes sense. And there'll always be, I think there's like, 3 for easy, 4 for medium, 5 for hard, 6 for extra hard. I'm probably talking out of my arse, but that's the best way I can explain that, even if I've explained it poorly. My advice, just look up online at the riddle solutions, and you'll get what I mean. Because I do not know all of these riddles off my head. I very much had the guide handy just to refresh my memory, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's one of those ones that's an RNG one. It's not purely RNG, because there's only 6 possible outcomes every single time, but it's always random which one of those 6 outcomes it will be. And we are very much close to our next save. Sorry, I've got to constantly clear my throat. When you're talking for nearly 2 hours, you just you start, I don't know, I think my voice is starting to go, actually. You'd be surprised, the more you talk, the more your voice goes, and then you have to constantly keep clearing your throat. But yeah, as I was saying, you get through this little part here. I think there's like 2 ladders we've got to go up and down, and 1 more little route, and we are at the save. It's the save I used, and when we get to it I will talk about it. But again, I think there's enemies in these sections, and also you're a lot slower in the water segments, by the way, so you have to be careful. That's why I say take your time here. It's better to take your time than take a lot of damage. It's better to take an extra 2 minutes. Like, it's better for this section to take you 20 minutes instead of 8 than getting hit loads. Now what I do is, because you cannot run past them, you sort of have to deal with these enemies. I would shoot them, and if I could run past them, but if there's 2 and they're too close to me, I'll just reset the room. And again here I'm doing the pause trick just to make sure I can see the enemy, because this is a section where you'll probably get hit in the dark. I'll also, I should have mentioned this at the beginning, because it's going to be too late now, but I'll just say it now. Turning your flashlight off will stop enemies coming towards you. I mean, you may have noticed it that I don't have it on in certain areas of the game, but this is a section where, to be honest, you want to run through it all with your flashlight off, because otherwise you're in such an enclosed space, they are just going to be in your face straight away. And yeah, you run really slow. I did mention that, so it's hard to sort of outrun them. I wouldn't say you run really slow, but you definitely don't run at the same speed. So if you sort of get halfway up here and get cock-blocked by 2 enemies, you're probably going to take damage. Now, I think this might be the save. We must be very close. Because I know once you get past the fence, you're pretty much 3/4 of the way there or so. There must only be like another 1 or 2 corridors. This is a prime example. I mean, that was risky of me, but also I think that was the right thing to do, to be honest. If you don't need kills, obviously that's a good strategy actually. If there's 2 of them close, knock 1 down and just try and run past them. But the difficulty you have there and the risk is you might get stuck and not be able to get past them, if that makes sense, and you take damage. So, we have made it to our second save, and yeah, congratulations, because if you've got to this part, you are well on your way to getting that 10-star run.
Hopefully you've taken less damage than me. Hopefully it's gone a bit quicker for you. Hopefully it's less stressful than you thought, or less hard as you thought it would be, or less difficult. Poor choice of words. For me personally, I would 100% save here, without a doubt. Now, everything I see online recommends you save after the Abstract Daddy boss fight. Maybe not 100%, but a good 90% of what you see will always recommend your second save to be at the grave before the Eddie fight. And, I mean, there's a part of me that agrees with that. Don't get me wrong, I think it's a very good place to save before the graveyard, because Eddie's a reset all the time. He will probably take you half an hour or 40 minutes of just practicing to get him stun locked, or whatever you need to do. But, for me personally, just do yourself a favour and save here. Because it's not worth fucking up here and then having to do everything else all over again that we've done for the past hour. And I think I'm talking on my stream here because I'm telling everybody, like, I actually nearly didn't save. I'm pretty sure I'm debating whether to save, and then I sort of cave in and just do it, because I'm going to go to this, is you've got your 75 kills with your pistols and your handguns, your weapons, whatever. You've got your 75 melee kills. You've got the achievement or the trophy for them, so you know you've got them. You've spent about 45 minutes roaming about having to do that. We've gone through the stress of getting through the prison segment and this segment. If you die here, if you have a bad Abstract Daddy boss fight, you can have a semi-bad Abstract Daddy boss fight, and it's absolutely fine. You might still be below 500 points of damage by the time you get to the end of the game, and that is fine. But I highly doubt Abstract Daddy will kill you unless you're absolutely terrible. But the thing is, you do not want a bad Abstract Daddy boss fight and you lose 200 points of damage, and then you're like, oh fuck, I've lost 200 points of damage and my next save is before the grave. So what this does is this mitigates that. So you don't get to a point where you fuck yourself and have to go back to your first save. I would just highly recommend saving here. And because the point between killing Abstract Daddy, you literally kill Abstract Daddy, do a little hangman puzzle, and then you're at Eddie. And it's 5 minutes. And as you can see, thank fuck we saved, because I only got attacked once there, but I was so concerned about the damage I took at the very start of the game and throughout the game, because I've had to heal quite a lot. I genuinely thought I'd taken about 400 points of damage by this point. And to be honest, my guessing wasn't so far off, because I think by the end of the game we took 350. But Abstract Daddy, he fucks you. I think if you get hit twice by him, you are just in danger from full health. So in my mind, I had to do the bosses without dying. Like, the boss runs had to be without damage, sorry, not without dying. And yeah, look, I have a mare of it. You know, I get hit. He fucks me quite a lot. I really thought I had this down as well, because I was very confident going into this, thinking, yeah, I can save at the Eddie boss fight, that'll be fine. And I just thought, nah, I'm not risking having a bad fight, taking damage that I don't want to take, and then having a chance of having to go all the way back to doing the 75 kills. And the bad thing about that is you have no way to track it either. So if you don't save and you have a really bad Abstract Daddy, or God forbid you die, and something really bad happens, then you've got no way to track like what your kills are, because that achievement ain't popping. And if you haven't been tracking from the start, then fucking God help you, you may be fucked. You may have to like proper go for kills and just hope for the best, or do the farm at the end and gauge if you think you're on 75 or not. But yeah, I mean, I will get to cutting this, because you're not going to want to see failed attempts constantly. It's just boring, and I'll get you to the actual run. But I also picked up a collectible about a minute back. I was trying to get through a door and he just constantly kept picking up the collectibles, so that was frustrating. But yeah, I'm going to skip to our successful run, and then we'll get to like the Eddie and we're also going to get to the section where you can farm kills, and I'll point that out here. So this should be the successful attempt of Abstract Daddy, and once you kill him, this is the section I was talking about earlier where you can farm your kills. So if you haven't got your 75 weapon kills and 75 melee kills, this spot after
Abstract Daddy will be the place to do it. Now, I wouldn't advise literally beelining the game just to get to this part and farm at 150 kills. Like, I'm not saying that. Don't do that. Do exactly what I say, and when you're out in Dark Silent Hill, get as many kills as possible. But this is just a fail-safe for if for some reason you don't have your 150 kills in total by this point, then one, you've got a save which you can fall back on, which is very close to getting the kills, and two, you know, last resort, we've got a section where we can farm enemies. So yeah, that's how easy the Abstract Daddy boss fight is, and it looks easy, and it is easy, but you've got to sort of stagger a run to a point to try and get around him. You want to run from one corner to another, and you can get 2 shots in, never do more than 2 shots. So this section, we don't fail the puzzle, but what you want to do is purposely fail this puzzle. If you purposely fail it, it will spawn 4 enemies, I believe, outside of this room we're in now. So, I mean, I shouldn't need to explain this. If you've played the game and you're at this point where you're going for a 10-star run, you should know how that puzzle works. But essentially, there will be a sign that tells you what criminal you sort of need to pull down corresponding to the rope that's hanging, and you go and inspect the bodies there, and that'll be a thief, a burglar, an arsonist. And yeah, basically, say the answer to the riddle is thief, you then have to look where the thief body is with its little note in that room, and then go back to the rope, pull the rope down. So you purposely want to pull the wrong rope, go back to the room, and there will be enemies in the corridor. You can rinse and repeat that as many times as you want, and that will indefinitely spawn enemies. I can't really show it here because I never failed it on purpose to show you, but I promise you that will work. My only advice is be very careful. Try not to take too much damage because you've got 4 enemies in a corridor. It might be worth shooting 2 to death and then trying to like safely melee the next 2. But yeah, we're feeling pretty good here. We've beaten Abstract Daddy, but at the same time I know that this is not going to go smooth because we've got Eddie, and Eddie is a fucking RNG fest. His first phase is a piece of piss, which I will walk you through, but his second phase, I'm not going to turn around and say use my methods, because my method isn't the best. It's just the one that I wanted to do to feel comfortable with and to know it'd work. I've seen better methods where people use the chainsaw, but as I said earlier, I didn't want to use the chainsaw just in case there were any fuck ups for the 10-star run. So what I try and do is get him into a well-known stun lock in the second phase as well, but it requires practice to pull off. And like, I'll show you a failed attempt. We fail this for about an hour, by the way, so it gets to a point where I'm really good at fighting Abstract Daddy, and he's not a problem because we have to fight Eddie like 15 times before I nail it down and get the stun lock I need. But yeah, just before the graves, this is the section that people recommend saving, and you can save here, but honestly, just save where I save. I promise you it's going to not cause you a headache. If you are massively confident and you know that you can slap your dick around in Abstract Daddy's face, then okay, you go ahead and you do that, and fucking good job. I commend you for that. I really do. If you're really comfortable with that boss fight, by all means, you save before the graveyard. So this section, literally, as soon as you've got the cutscene, skip the cutscene. As soon as you've pressed the button to skip the cutscene, hold RT and A, or R2 and X on the PlayStation. I think it's R2 and X. As I say, it's been so long since I played a PlayStation, but you will then just stun lock him and whack him in the head there constantly, and he will never hurt you. That section is fail safe. You will never fuck that up. This bit is where it gets difficult. You want to run right round the meat, and he will follow you, and what he's going to do is he follows you in that corner, and you've got to try and trap him in the corner. For me, in this run here, it just goes tits up. I try and get him to follow me, but I think I ran too quickly, and or for some reason he just ran to the complete opposite end of the room. It happens, like I say, it's very RNG based. At this point though, I'm just trying to get used to the fight. I know I'm going to have to restart. I wanted to do this no damage. I did not want to get hit because I was very unsure on how much damage I'd taken, so in my mind I had to do this without being hit. And yeah, he's just, like I say, you can nail it, run him into the corner and he gets stun locked. And other times he just has a mind of his own and he runs about. It's quite difficult because you have to run, but you can't run too fast because then he won't be aggroed, so he won't follow you and he'll just run his own way. But then if you run too slow, he'll stop and then you can't get him to follow you again. It's very bizarre, so you sort of have to run. And I'll show you my successful attempt. I'm not going to bore you with my constant failures. There is another method that people talk about. I've seen it on YouTube as well, where you can use the chainsaw. If you want to use that, then I actually recommend doing that. But I'm just saying I didn't personally want to use the chainsaw in case there were any problems with the 10-star run. But I've read a lot saying there isn't, so it's up to you if you want to do that. And if you do use the chainsaw and you get your 10-star run, brilliant. If you do use the chainsaw and it turns out it does void it, then you can fall back on this save and you've got like 30 minutes of gameplay, if that, left. So I'm going to skip to our successful Eddie attempt. And I do just want to start this section, so here, as soon as the cutscene starts, hold RT and A, bang, you'll just get him in a stun lock. He will keep doing this. This is piece of piss. You can do this one-handed, and I promise you it works 100% of the time. RT and A on the Xbox, hold, just hold those two buttons, and obviously R2 and X on the PlayStation. So here we enter the room, and like I say, you have to immediately run right past the meat because otherwise he will shoot you, and you run round it. So this is my successful attempt in the best way I can show you. We sort of run in a loop, go into a corner. He does hit me with a punch here, and then he sort of, look, he backs up. It's really hard to see. Like I got very lucky here. I was just hitting and hoping, but you try your best. If anything, I think the punch might have helped him get stun locked in that corner, because that sort of pushed me to the left, which then forced him to go right. But yeah, you loop round into the corner to then loop him into the corner, and you can just stagger lock him with a melee weapon. But the distance is very specific, because if you can hit him once and he steps back, so then he creates a distance and you'll miss with your melee weapon. So that's why he needs to be in this corner, because he can't, every time he steps back he doesn't move, so you're just constantly meleeing him. And again, it looked fairly simple and easy there, but that took me about an hour and a half of attempts. I mean an hour and a half in total, because I had to fight Abstract Daddy and do that puzzle about 20 times. But yeah, again, I recommend the chainsaw method, but if you don't want to use the chainsaw and you want to do it like the original way of stun locking him, then there's that, and that's the one I used. And now, yeah, we are at the boat section. Because I skipped to our successful Eddie attempt, the one that got us through to the boat section, I'm just going to show you my successful boat attempt. Here, it's very difficult, but this is my successful attempt at the boat, and I fuck up. But what you want to do is, as soon as it starts, you need to have both your analog sticks and you need to move them both counterclockwise, so to the left, in a circular motion. And you do that about, see, for this was my successful attempt. I pushed forward on both my analog sticks, so they're pointing in at 12 o'clock, as soon as I was in the boat and ready to go. And then I rotated them counterclockwise quickly, not massively aggressively, but so that it was always going round in a circle. And it was constantly at the outer edge of my analog stick. And I would recommend, yeah, pointing the analog sticks at 12 o'clock straight away, go counterclockwise and count 9 circular motions. I did 8 here, and it wasn't enough, look. As you can see, I then hit the invisible wall and I had to rotate to the right and go again. And I thought, it's fucked, not got the time. But as soon as you've rotated 8 times, then rotate both of your sticks. You need to rotate the right stick clockwise and the left stick counterclockwise. and just keep doing that. Don't worry that the boat is still moving to the right. You are going forwards, but the boat is just catching up with itself. And I think that's the important thing. You don't want to line the boat up to the light and then start going forward. You want to do your turning motions, and as soon as you've done 8 or 9 rotations, just go into rotating forwards, like moving the boat forwards. Because while you're moving the boat forwards, that boat is still going in the direction that you previously moved it, if that makes sense. So you level yourself out. Yeah, and I mean, it's probably a bit of a confusing description, not the best description. But that's literally how I did it. I counted 8 rotations to move my boat to the right, and as you see, I fell short. So if I was you, I would do 9 or maybe 10 rotations, and you'll probably be in line for the light, and you'll get it in one shot, and probably have a really good time of like 1 minute 10 seconds. But yeah, again, it's very important. As soon as you go out of that cutscene, push up, hold up on your sticks to 12 o'clock, rotate them both counterclockwise. I'd say 9 times, maybe 9.5. As soon as you've done that, have both of your sticks point into 12 o'clock again, and then rotate the right stick clockwise and the left stick counterclockwise, and just keep doing it. You don't even have to look at the screen, just keep doing that. I mean, you will have to look at the screen to make sure you've lined up, but yeah, you can just keep doing that in a nice motion. Quick, try and do it quick. I was doing it quick, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't like doing it slow. You must do it quick, but you don't need to go fucking nuts about it and ruin your controller. Like, I think there's a limit, like, you can do it. I think the game cares more about consistency of your motions than it does speed of how you're flapping those sticks about. But I think the problem people have is, I think what they're doing is they're lining the boat up to the light, and then they're pushing their boat forwards. And it's important to just do the motions to turn the boat to the right, and then instantly accelerate your boat, because your boat is still turning while you're moving forward, if that makes sense. And I mean, yeah, I couldn't believe it. I really did not think I was going to get the time, and I did. So that's another one that apparently is really daunting and probably the worst part of the run. And that successful attempt was on my 3rd attempt, by the way. I failed twice, and yeah, my 3rd attempt was the successful one. Yeah, I haven't really been talking about the hotel, because the hotel's not really much to talk about. Once I did the boat section, this is where my heart rate, probably hit 150, just from sitting still. This section here, as soon as you see these 2 abstract daddies, just do what I do. Run to the right, and just run forward. They cannot hurt you, and you can reach this door, and you'll be absolutely fine. You will have to be careful when you come out of that door, because there will be 1 abstract daddy that you have to go past, but I don't think both of them are there anymore. Yeah, the hotel section, there's not much to talk about, because it's not too dangerous. You have got abstract daddies. You should know how to do these puzzles by now, they're fairly simple. I'm just obviously following my guide that I'm using to the side of me, glancing at where to go. Yeah, I mean, if you get that boat section down, I mean, you're pretty much, the run's free here, unless you somehow get bummed massively by a abstract daddy. Like, you should be fine. Those 2 that we went past in the corridor, like I say, that's probably the most riskiest part of the hotel, but there's a very good strategy there. Like I say, just run along the side of the wall, and they can't hurt you. You can just push up to the door. But if you've got past that boat section and you've made it here, as long as your stats are okay, as long as they're not worse than mine at this point, and I'm sure they'll be better, then you've 100% got the 10-star run, because I'm on for it here. There you go, look, I come out the door and there's an abstract daddy in my face. Luckily, he didn't grab me. I managed to sort of get away and react quickly there, and also I didn't mess myself up with the controls or camera angle coming out of the door. But that's really the only dangerous part of the hotel. There's a few scary moments of the hotel where you have to sort of go through without weapons. That always gives me anxiety. But yeah, I mean, your heart's probably going to be thumping because you're so close to the end now. You're about 5-10 minutes away. And yeah, I know I'm okay for time, so I'm just making sure that I'm not taking damage. Like, I don't actually think I take damage at all in the hotel section. I have a really good sort of last third of the run here. And yeah, you have to put everything in this locker. This bit always gives me anxiety because you do have to go past enemies with no weapons, but it is what it is. The game doesn't chuck too much at you because it knows obviously you haven't got weapons and you can't defend yourself. And it's very simple and it doesn't happen for very long. It's only like a 2-minute segment, if that you have to get through. But yeah, you're pretty much home free here, to be honest. Like, it's going to be very stressful and you're going to be shitting your pants at this point. But the good thing is there's nothing difficult. Like, that is the good thing about this game and the 10-star run. I mean, you've got to save right before the hardest section, in my opinion, like the gauntlet. You've got Eddie, Abstract Daddy, the boat section. And yeah, you've got to save right before it, so that's really handy. And then the hotel, as I say, is pretty much free. I mean, of course you can get hit, you can take damage, but it's one of the like safest places out of the whole game, apart from like the open streets, I'd say. So yeah, we're just getting through. I mean, we're trying to get through this as quickly as possible. I'm not going to lie, at this point I'm speedrunning the fuck out of it as quickly as I can. Just being very cautious of taking damage, because I know that I remember thinking I must be on for the 10 stars here, because the only thing I was worried about was my damage taken. That was the only thing I was unsure of. But I do remember thinking, well, if my damage is too high, I'm pretty fucked, because I remember I got through Abstract Daddy without being hit. Eddie, I got punched once, and I made it through this whole section without getting hit. So, you know, Eddie would have done, I don't know, maybe 40 or 50 points of damage, so I didn't have a lot to cut off, even. If I was on like 580 damage taken, I would have been fucked, and I would have had to go back to my first save. This section is a bit shit, by the way. I mean, I don't get hit here, but this enemy here, I managed to push past her. 9 times out of 10 you'll get hit by her. That, believe it or not, this run, that's the only time I've never actually got hit by her. So don't feel disheartened if you do get hit. You just have to force your way past her. Sometimes she'll trap you a lot easier as well. But I've been hit once, I've even been hit twice by her, but you can just squeeze through. I mean, try and bait her to the left and run to the right, or bait her to the right and run to the left. But either way, you will eventually squeeze past her, and it's just RNG if you get hit. I mean, I haven't seen any no-hit guides. I'm sure there's a proper good strategy for it, but... So now we are pretty much there. I believe we've got to go back, get like one more piano box or something, and it's pretty much then going for the ending. We do just have to get our weapons back, which is what we're doing now, and I'm just making sure I'm getting the route right, because this part of the hotel, I always get wrong. I can never remember how to get my weapons back. And oh yeah, okay, so actually I go upstairs. I think you have to go this way anyway, but I get the map out to make sure I go the right way down the corridor here. And yeah, we keep going past, and yeah, we're just going to go get our weapons from the locker, and then we're about probably 3-4 minutes away from the ending. As soon as you get your weapons back, you haven't got a lot to worry about, because at this point, there isn't many enemies around, and I think at least you can defend yourself now. But there will be an item as well that we do need to pick up, and you must remember to pick that up. God, whatever you do, just do not forget it. God forbid you do, because you do specifically have to sort of go backwards, pick up the item to then go and get your ending. And honestly, I nearly forgot it. But you use all the music boxes here. I think it's Cinderella. I'm just going to take a guess. Middle one, Snow White. Oh no, see, I got it wrong. Cinderella, Little Mermaid, then Snow White for me. I think that's based on what riddle setting you're on. But again, try and have these solutions sort of to your hand if you can, on your phone, in your notes or something like that. Or even write it down on a piece of paper, just the codes for a lot of them and the riddle solutions. So obviously you can't do the RNG ones, but you want something there so that you can refer to. You can pause your game and just look at it, because there's too much pressure unless you've done about 50 runs and you know this game like the back of your hand. You know, you're not gonna, with the stress of going for this run, you're not gonna remember all the codes. So here, this is it. This is, we have to get to. I think I just lose the plot here. I'm like so stressed. Just make sure I need to go the right way. But yeah, we just have to go up. Just have to get the ending pretty much. Use the stairwell key. We get the hotel. We get the video cutscene. Sorry. And then we go for the extra item, and then go for our ending. I'm feeling pretty good here because I know, yeah, there's no more enemies, I should be fine. I'm just like so anxious because I know I'm about a minute away from my results screen. And it's just, am I going to do it or not? And it's more, I wasn't dead set that I was going to get it, but it's knowing what my results are. So if I do have to revert to a save, then I just know where I stand, if that makes sense. Because you're in the dark here, you don't know what your stats are. I mean, you're tracking them, but... So, yeah, after you've put the videotape in and you've got the cutscene, go outside here and go down the stairs. Do not, whatever you fucking do not activate that dog ending just yet. Do not use the dog key on the door. You will still have to enter the door, so if you do use the dog key, you're okay, but do not, if you walk in that door, that's it, fucking GG's. You need to go back downstairs here, and is it into the cloakroom? It's this room here, the reading room. It's the reading room you have to go to, and we have to pick up the book. There's a book on the shelf, that is an extra item. Do not forget this. Crimson Ceremony book, last item you need. If you miss this, I think that's it. I don't think you can get your 10 stars. I'm pretty sure you need every single extra item. You can't fuck that up. I could be wrong. I think you might be able to miss a special item, but you need to like pick up more items to counteract the special item. But honestly, just don't. Just pick up all the extra items. It's not worth it. And then here we are. We are at the end, and that's GG's. Observation room. Use the dog key. Get the dog ending. And yeah, that's a sigh of relief from me on the stream, on the old webcam. My heart was going here, and I'm just shitting my breeches. I'm hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. And then we get an achievement, and we get those 10 stars, those 10 gold stars, and I'll tell you, it's a lovely feeling getting it. It was so good to have this done, and yeah, the endorphin rush and the stress release you get from doing that. But it's very rewarding. It's a very challenging mode, but I promise you all, you can do it. And this is what this guy's for, just to help you through it and show you it's not as daunting. And I know it's one thing saying it and it's another thing playing it, but everybody is capable of getting this done. You don't need to be out of your mind. You don't need to be amazing at the game. I was not amazing at this game. No way. I still had a lot to learn. I could have done so much better. But that's another thing. You learn from these things. And nobody's perfect. But even like average gameplay can get you the 10 stars. And for me, I just wanted to show you there's a lot of room for error. You know, you can see here the boat stage time, 1 minute 16 seconds. There's a lot you can get wrong. We took 350 points of damage, I believe. Yeah, 351. So, and you saw, it was by all means not a perfect run at all. So yeah, there's a lot of wiggle room, more so than people think. You know, when I come into this, I genuinely thought, oh fuck me, the way everybody talks about it, we can't make mistakes here. But you've got 3 hours to do it. You know, we beat that, we had half an hour left. You can take longer than me if you want to, and that's even less stress. You know, you could fuck about for 20 minutes, tickling your balls, and you'd be fine. But I'm gonna end the video there, guys. I really hope it's helped you. I've kept it raw. Sorry if some of the bits aren't cut and you want them cut, but I just wanted to keep it in. I probably could have shortened some of the pauses, but it just would have been pointless in my opinion. I wouldn't want to confuse you on where I am and get it wrong. So yeah, I hope it's been an enjoyable video. I hope it's helped you, and I really hope everyone out there that's trying this gets the 10-star run and gets their completion done, or their platinum trophy if that's what you're going for. And as you all know, we are unlocking every achievement in the Silent Hill series, so stay tuned because there'll be more of those on the way. Thank you all for watching, and if you have enjoyed it and it's helped you, please consider subscribing. Thanks very much. Take it easy.